Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Maurice Lévy. Mr. Lévy, thank you for joining us. We're very excited to have you here today at the Amundi World Investment Forum. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm very well, thank you. I was expecting a marche nuptiale. So good morning, everyone. And we are going to speak about AI. It's maybe a bit early for you. I see that all the faces are a little bit sleepy.
For sure. Nothing to do with the Petit Palais, like I explained. Today at the forum, you're right, we're going to explore the repercussions, the consequences of the tech revolution underway, the new tech revolution underway. And of course, many people here know you as one of the world's most celebrated and famous publicists and communications expert. But some of you may not know that you are actually a computer science graduate. And you have witnessed
Long time ago.
Long time ago, but nevertheless, you are an expert in all things tech. And in fact, you are behind Vivatech. Vivatech, for those who may not know, I doubt it, is the annual conference on all things tech happening here in Paris, and of which you are president and which was created by Publicis. And this year, the topic on everyone's lips was, of course, AI, and Gen AI in particular. Since you attended Vivatech this year, can you tell us what your main takeaways are on this year's edition and how we should feel about AI? Because there's much fear and much anxiety about it, but excitement too.
I think that you should not worry very much about AI. Vivatech has been speaking about AI since the very beginning because AI is something which is back to the 50s and we have seen it growing, slipping, going down, and suddenly, thanks to internet and thanks to all the innovation and particularly what is making NVIDIA so rich, we have the chips and the possibilities of doing a lot of calculation at the speed of light. And AI is becoming not only a buzzword, but something which is really shaping the world of tomorrow. If you look at the conversation at Vivatech, roughly 40% of all the discussions, debate were about AI. And you had finally two line of positions. On the one hand, you had the people like Elon Musk or Yoshua Bengio, who is a Turing Prize, and who are doubtful, and Elon says, my biggest fear is AI. On the other hand, you have the people from OpenAI and Yann LeCun and many of those guys who said AI is probably the dream for tomorrow and it's something which will change the life of everyone. In fact, it will be both. It's something that we should have a lot of hopes, not only for the companies and how they will be organized and how they can be more productive, more innovative, when they can create a lot of things, or they can improve the way they are operating and improve the profitability. And at the same time, we have some fears which are linked to the fact that we have to reskill the people. I don't believe that we will have a dramatic situation where we will see a lot of layoffs, but we will see a lot of replacement of jobs, a little bit like we have seen with the startup era and the internet. And we have some issues that we will need to deal with, which are extremely important regarding democracy, the deep fakes, the fact that you have today a lot of videos which are running and you don't know if they are true or they are completely fake. So there will be a lot of issues, and at the same time a lot of hopes. So I feel personally more hopeful than scared about what AI can bring. And as always, when there is a new innovation, it's a disruption, which is good for the companies because it is the time to rethink your business model, the time to rethink your organization, how you go to market, how you can maybe leapfrog the competition. So it's something which is extremely positive to really rethink the future.
Well, that's the perfect segue for my next question. You've mentioned disruption. How disruptive is AI compared to previous innovations like the internet, blockchain, 5G, the cloud? How much of a step change is it compared to all those tech evolutions you have witnessed at the helm of Publicis?
Yes, we have just launched something which is a chatbot, which is BS bot. For the people who are familiar with English, BS. Okay.
Please do not force me to translate.
And it is how to take the BS out of AI. So you can go to BS bot and you can play a little bit. All the innovation that we have been facing, not only in our industry, but in many industries, have been relatively slow to take off and to be implemented and to be adopted, including internet. We are today familiar with everything which is digital, and internet is something that is a little bit like the phone in the 70s. Something which is common, nobody cares about, only about cybersecurity. But otherwise, it is something which is well embedded in all companies of the world and in the daily work of everyone, including the one who are not coming at the office because they are working from home. So it's something which is really banal. But it took 30 years. If there is something which is changing quite dramatically when it comes to AI and particularly generative AI, it's the speed at which it is adopted, implemented, and also the spread of implementation. Internet has been the very first which has been adopted very quickly. For example, if you compare with IT, IT was limited to a segment, limited to expert, and progressively has evolved in order to become something which was shared in the company. Today, AI is something which is used by almost everyone to a certain extent, and it is yet only scratching the surface. So what we will expect is an acceleration in the adaptation, and I think that as it is adapting the world of today, I think that AI will lead to an adaptation of the companies which is far greater to what we have experienced with the internet.
So can you tell us a bit more about that? How do you expect companies to go about adopting AI? And how will it change the competitive landscape, according to you?
I will shock maybe some of you, but I think that we have seen many CEOs saying we are adopting AI and we are implementing AI. Very often it is just a small adaptation and a small adaptation. and the reality that AI will go deep in the organization, and the real adaptation is when we will radically change the way we are operating the organization and everything. When we look just with Publicis, what we have done, when we have considered the new world, and this is back in 2015, we said we have to disrupt our organization. And it took us years to reorg everything, the way we work, changing from the silo approach to the one single approach, and this has led to changing a lot of habits and the way we were operating. During all that period of time, we have lost market share, we had to adapt, we have to restructure. Today, we are reaping the fruits. Why? Simply because we are more attuned to this new world, we are adapted to this new world, and we have prepared, because we have done a lot of work with our teams in reskilling them, in training them to the new world, and we are now ready for the future. But it is something which really requires a lot of effort, and it's not only having ChatGPT or any other tool that will change the way you are operating. You have to really rethink completely the organization, the way you go to market, and the way you invent your new product.
So for that to happen, you need a lot of vision, of course. And your business is all about observing and shaping consumption patterns. So can you tell us what current trends say or reveal about future opportunities for the economy and investments in particular?
If there is something which is, I think, well shared around the world, is the fact that the new consumers and the citizens of the world are much well prepared to innovation that the old generation in the 90s or the beginning of 2000 were prepared. Thanks to the use of internet, the social network, the smartphone. So this is something which is well embedded in the daily life of everyone. So this is leading to a clear acceleration in adaptation. So we had a pattern in the past, which was the early adopters, and then we were moving step by step, and it was taking a few years that something was adopted. Today, the adaptation of new trends or new tools is very quick, thanks to the fact that people are prepared. If you look now at the trend of the consumers, there is, I would say, two very important dimensions. The first one is a little bit like what we have seen with a movie that nobody has understood, which is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, including the title. And this has been something, it is something that people want. They want everything now, they don't want to wait, and they don't understand that they cannot get it. The second trend is a trend which is extremely important for cooperation of today and tomorrow, which is the relation to work. And people have a relation to work which is very different. In the good old days, there was the idea that, okay, I will start at this level, I will work hard, I will come early, I will leave late, which is something that I still do, which shows how old-fashioned I am. And today people say, okay, we have to get everything now. I don't need really to be at the office. I can do it from remote. And we are losing a lot of the intangible exchanges which are so precious, particularly in our industry. If we want to get something out of the creative mind of the people, the serendipity approach is something which is essential. The fact that at the coffee machine you are bumping on someone and say, oh, I wanted to speak to you, and finally I had an idea I would like to discuss. And what is coming out of that conversation, which is just a small conversation between two team members, is something which is extremely precious and that we are losing when we have a call which is starting at 1 p.m., finishing at 1:29, because at 1:30 there is another call, etc., etc. So the relation to work has dramatically changed. The relation to the others is already changing enormously. The virtual relations are taking a huge place in the life of the people, and this is something for which we have not yet a solution. And I think that people, and it's probably one of the reasons why Match Something is working so well, it's because people cannot get to meet by accident someone, and the relationships are changing so dramatically that this is probably calling for a kind of reset. I don't know which one, but there will be certainly something to be done, and I have not the solution. If I had the solution, I think not only I will share it, but I will probably sell it.
I think it was
Which would be a good business for Publicis.
Absolutely. I think it was Steve Jobs who said that the best ideas happen in corridors or something like that. Maybe it was Bill Gates, but we get it. A few points you mentioned previously. You mentioned this generational shift. Some call it a generational war underway currently. We're also seeing, and we discussed it yesterday, a big geographical shift of power towards Asia, towards China, towards India. So, and that will wrap up our conversation. With demographics playing such a key role in our society, understanding these dynamics is very important indeed. So is there a right way to use demographics data, let's say, to predict new trends?
We use it since ever, and AI will certainly help enormously. And today we are able to predict, and with our tools, and it's probably one of the secret source of Publicis, we can predict when you will change a car, we can predict when you will go on vacation, what kind of vacation, and we can make an offer to you which is quite precise. But when we go to the geographical shift, there is two aspects. One is purely economics and how we should be adapting to this new world, and how do we invest in some region. However, when you look at some region, and I'm speaking by experience, for example, when we have invested in China very early on, and we had to rethink our business more than once because the Chinese approaches and the Chinese way of doing business has shifted from the period of Hu Jintao and before to the period of Xi, and we have seen a lot of changes, and we lost a lot of our businesses. We are regaining market share, but we had to revisit our strategy at least 3 times. India is very different, and in India, the idea that we will use India as a subcontractant, offshoring, etc., has dramatically changed also. And India, we very early on considered that we should use India not as offshoring, but reshoring in a certain way, and using the incredible workforce that they have in IT to help us in other regions. So we are exporting from India instead of subcontracting to India. It's a different kind of approach. But the major question that we have to put to us, and that is the biggest question that we can think about, and probably a question that we will not cover because time is out. But that's good because I have not to answer the question, which is where the hell West is going to.
Oh, go on then, please.
No, but that's very true. When you look at the current situation, in terms of values, where are we going to? We have lost many of our values. In terms of our position, what are we doing when we see the speed at which India, China are growing? Is it right today to consider that China should benefit from the generosity of the West with the WTO rules that we have considered that they should be dispensed of and they should not have to apply or comply? And if they are not complying with those rules because they were a country in development, today they are the second largest economy of the world, is it right that we subsidize their development? And what are the values which will drive the world tomorrow? So with those questions, you have 4 hours. It's time in France for le bac français, and I'm coming back to take the copies in about 4 hours.
Okay. Well, what a shame we run out of time. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Maurice Lévy, what a pleasure. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.